I was reborn on the day the Davenports asked me to treat Chloe. This time, I just raised an eyebrow, looking at her in the wheelchair. Miss Davenport, those legs are ruined. No one can fix them. It was because in my past life I was born with healing blood. It could cure any ailment. After I cured the paralyzed legs of New York's socialite princess, I learned the Davenports had promised that whoever healed Chloe would become the family's heir. Chloe was forced to marry me, and Caleb, the man who had gone to climb the Rockies to find a snow lotus for her, lost his footing when he heard the news. He fell from a cliff, his fate unknown. A year later, Chloe found Caleb's body, frozen in ice. She tried to force me to slit my wrist and bleed myself out to save him. If Caleb had just brought back that snow lotus and healed me, we could have grown old together. You're the one who killed him. Ethan, don't you claim your blood is a miracle cure? Then bring Caleb back to life. I lowered my head and tried to reason with her gently. Caleb has been dead for a year. I can cure illnesses, but I can't bring the dead back to life. But Chloe wouldn't listen to my explanation, and she watched, wide-eyed, as I bled to death. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day the Davenports had first asked me to treat Chloe. This time, I wouldn't let that tragedy happen again. Hearing my words, Chloe slowly lifted her head to look at me, her face flushing crimson with rage. You charlatan, get out of my house. I gave a faint smile and turned to Mrs. Davenport beside me. Mrs. Davenport, if the Hayes family says an ailment can't be cured, then it's truly hopeless. You're still young enough. Perhaps you should consider having another child. As soon as the words left my mouth, the teacup in Chloe's hand came flying straight at me. I sidestepped, avoiding it easily. With a crash, the $1,000 teacup hit the floor and shattered into a million pieces. A startled Mrs. Davenport rushed to apologize. Mr. Hayes, I am so sorry. I apologize on Chloe's behalf. It's just because of her condition. I waved her apology away dismissively. It's understandable. I won't stoop to arguing with a cripple. Seeing Chloe tremble with rage, I turned on my heel and left the Davenport estate. Mrs. Davenport followed me out, her voice a low plea. Mr. Hayes, is there truly no other way? I've heard the Hayes family possesses secret healing arts. If you can cure Chloe's legs, the Davenports will grant you anything you ask. But the issue wasn't that she couldn't be cured. It was that I wouldn't cure her. In my past life, Chloe blamed me for Caleb's death, stubbornly believing that if he had only brought back the snow lotus, her legs would have been healed. If she had thought about it rationally for even a moment, she would have realized a snow lotus is just a health supplement. Its supposed miraculous properties were nothing but hype. Yet, when she discovered I had used my own blood in the medicine that cured her, she watched me bleed to death in a desperate attempt to resurrect Caleb. Just before I died, I overheard the Davenport staff talking. It turned out Caleb hadn't fallen from a cliff while picking a snow lotus at all. After realizing he couldn't get his hands on the Davenport fortune, he found a new sugar mama, but her husband found out and had him thrown from a cliff. This life, I would not get involved in their drama. I wished them a long and happy life together. As for Miss Davenport's legs, I'm afraid there's nothing I can do. Chloe, who had followed us out, heard me, her sweet voice laced with fury. Mother, Caleb has already flown to the Rockies. When he brings back the snow lotus, my legs will be cured. I don't need anyone else worrying about my affairs. Mrs. Davenport sighed heavily. The snow lotus will only help with recovery. It's not nearly enough to get you walking again. The Hayes family is your last hope. But Chloe remained obstinate. I told you, Caleb will cure me. I gave Chloe one last, deep look, then bid Mrs. Davenport farewell and left. Just as I walked out of the Davenport gates, a black SUV pulled up in front of me. A woman emerged from the vehicle and knelt before me. Mr. Hayes, please, I'm begging you to save my daughter. It turned out that, in the accident a year ago, Chloe wasn't the only one injured. Her frenemy, Sophia Sterling, was also a victim. After the crash, Sophia had been left in a vegetative state, barely clinging to life. But after the painful lesson of my last life, I would no longer use my blood to save anyone so carelessly. I refused Mrs. Sterling's request. Mrs. Sterling didn't press the issue. She simply wiped her tears and left. A week later, I received an invitation to a party at the Davenports. Caleb had returned with the snow lotus, and Mrs. Davenport, worried there might be something wrong with his remedy, asked me to attend and inspect it. At the party, Caleb never left Chloe's side. Mrs. Davenport approached me, her face etched with worry. I'm not worried that Caleb's remedy will be useless. I'm worried that Chloe won't be able to handle the disappointment if it fails again. We've tried everything this past year. I've watched the hope in her eyes fade away, and as her mother, I feel so helpless. Before I could offer any words of comfort, Caleb wheeled Chloe over to us. Don't you worry, Mrs. Davenport, he said. I will definitely get Chloe back on her feet. I nearly died in the Rockies for this snow lotus. Chloe squeezed Caleb's hand, her face a mask of adoration. Caleb, as soon as I can walk again, I'm going to wear the most beautiful wedding dress and marry you. Chloe, I'll be waiting for that day. Caleb then turned to me, a strange, unreadable smile on his face. I'm not like those other charlatans who just talk a big game. I know for a fact I can cure Chloe's legs. As soon as he said that, the faces of several renowned doctors in the room, all of whom had previously treated Chloe, turned sour. That's some big talk, Mr. Caleb. Are you really so certain you can cure Miss Davenport's legs? You're not even a medical professional. How dare you question our expertise? Even Ethan Hayes of the esteemed Hayes family said Miss Davenport's legs were beyond saving. I refuse to believe some upstart like you has what it takes. Chloe, however, saw nothing wrong with Caleb's words and smiled smugly. I believe in Caleb. He will definitely cure me. I couldn't help but let out a short, derisive laugh. Caleb assumed I was mocking him. He gritted his teeth in anger but forced a smile. Mr. Hayes, I hear you're the most brilliant healer of your generation in the Hayes family. Yet you refused the Davenports and then you refused the Sterlings. It makes one wonder if you can actually heal anyone at all. I raised my glass to him. In that case, I look forward to the day you help Miss Davenport walk again. Seeing me smile instead of getting angry, Caleb clenched his fists. Are you upset because I stole your spotlight? I know you want to marry Chloe, but I'm the one she loves. And I'm the only one who can heal her. From her wheelchair, Chloe's voice dripped with acid. Ethan, even if you could cure me, I would never marry you. Besides, you're a quack. When my mother first told me about you, I thought you were someone impressive, but it turns out you're nothing special. Let me make it clear. The only person I love is Caleb, and I'm going to marry him. Even if you keep showing up in front of me, I won't give you a second glance. Watching them play off each other, I just felt irritated. Mrs. Davenport invited me here to inspect Caleb's medicine. Since Miss Davenport has so much faith in him, there's no need for me to interfere. I turned to leave, but Caleb blocked my path. Ethan, what's that supposed to mean? I frowned. It means exactly what it sounds like. If you don't get it, look it up in a dictionary. Caleb's expression turned icy. Ethan, I dare you to a wager. Let's bet on who can cure Chloe's legs. The loser gets on their knees, admits defeat, and is banished from New York City forever. I stopped in my tracks and turned to face him. I'll take that bet, but I won't be treating Chloe Davenport. I'm going to treat Sophia Sterling. We have 10 days. Let's see if you can make Chloe walk, or if I can wake Sophia up. Caleb, do you dare? The moment I finished speaking, the room erupted in chaos. Isn't Sophia Sterling in a vegetative state? That's far more difficult to treat than Chloe's legs. Exactly. If the Sterlings hadn't spent a fortune just to keep her on life support, she would have been gone long ago. If Mr. Hayes can actually wake her up, it would be a medical miracle. A month would be a stretch. 10 days is impossible. Hearing the murmurs around him, a cunning glint appeared in Caleb's eyes. I accept. With everyone here as a witness, Ethan, you can't back out when you lose. A small smile played on my lips. I won't lose. Chloe smirked, as if mocking my arrogance. Sophia is practically a corpse. You can't even fix my legs and you think you can cure her? Ethan, if you admit defeat right now, I might consider letting you stay in New York. My eyes flickered over her legs, so quickly no one would notice. Chloe, all medicine has its risks. Be careful Mr. Caleb's skills aren't so superb that you end up with some new, strange affliction on top of your legs not being cured. With that, I turned and walked away. Caleb was just a finance major whose parents were ordinary working-class people. The idea that he possessed the means to cure Chloe's paralysis was utterly absurd. That night, news of our wager spread like wildfire through New York's elite circles. People even started placing bets on who would win. To encourage Caleb, Chloe put down $10 million on him. The next morning, Mrs. Sterling picked me up and took me to the hospital. I took out the blood-infused medicine I had prepared, gently lifted Sophia's head, and carefully helped her drink it. In 7 days, at most, Sophia would wake up. Mr. Hayes, thank you. Whether Sophia wakes up or not, the Sterling family will be forever in your debt. If there is anything you need, you have only to ask. We will do whatever is in our power." As she spoke, Mrs. Sterling started to kneel again. I quickly helped her up. "Mrs. Sterling, I'm not doing this for a reward. I just want to win the bet. Rest assured, I will wake Sophia up." Mrs. Sterling's eyes reddened with emotion. "I heard about your wager with Caleb. The Sterling family has also placed a $10 million bet on you. When you win, the full payout will be delivered to you. Please, Mr. Hayes, don't refuse. You've earned it." Just as I was about to speak, I saw Caleb wheeling Chloe toward us. "I was wondering why you'd suddenly offer to help Sophia. You're just after the Sterling's money, as expected." Caleb stepped forward to address Mrs. Sterling. "Mrs. Sterling, don't let Ethan fool you. He couldn't even fix Chloe's legs. How could he possibly wake Sophia up? You're going to lose both your money and your daughter." Mrs. Sterling looked at him with clear impatience. "I trust Mr. Hayes. I don't need your concern, Mr. Caleb." Rejected so bluntly, Caleb's face turned pale with anger. "Fine. No good deed goes unpunished." Seeing Caleb get shot down, Chloe grew angry as well. "Mrs. Sterling, Sophia, and I have known each other for years. You should trust me on this. This Ethan is a total quack. You can't let him treat Sophia." I held up a hand to stop Mrs. Sterling from defending me and turned my gaze to Chloe's legs. "Chloe, haven't you noticed that your legs have atrophied even more?" Chloe instinctively pulled the blanket over her legs. "Ethan, what nonsense are you talking about? After Caleb started his treatment, my legs feel much better." A flicker of panic crossed Caleb's eyes as he moved to stand in front of Chloe. "Ethan, you don't know what you're talking about. This is a normal reaction to the treatment. In a few days, Chloe will be able to walk. You should worry about yourself. You'd better figure out a way to wake Sophia up." I just smiled without saying a word. That day, after I gave Sophia her dose of medicine, Mrs. Davenport sent me a video of Caleb preparing his own concoction. In addition to the usual herbs, Caleb added a few drops of a clear, unknown liquid from an unlabeled vial. Just then, there was a stir from the hospital bed. I hurried over to her side. "Sophia, you're awake?" "Ethan?" Sophia blinked, her eyes focusing on my face as she said my name. I was stunned. "You know me?" Before she could answer, the door burst open and Mrs. Sterling rushed in, throwing her arms around her daughter. I left the room to give the mother and daughter some privacy. As soon as I stepped out of the room, Mrs. Davenport sent me another video via iMessage. Chloe's legs had atrophied even more severely. It was undoubtedly connected to that liquid Caleb had added to his medicine. I thought back to my last life, how Chloe had sworn that Caleb's snow lotus would be her salvation. I wondered if this time, after Caleb had utterly destroyed her legs, she would still forgive him and want to grow old together. Over the next few days, Sophia dedicated herself to physical therapy and was already able to walk on her own. Soon, the 10th and final day of my wager with Caleb arrived. Nearly every prominent family in New York had gathered at the Davenport estate to see the outcome. It felt like the entire city had a stake in this bet. When Sophia and I walked into the ballroom, the guests stared, their eyes wide with disbelief. "Is that Sophia Sterling? Am I seeing things? She's really awake. I put $5 million on Caleb to win." The Hayes family truly lives up to their reputation as miracle workers. They cured someone every hospital had given up on. The murmurs sweeping through the crowd made Caleb's face go pale. He stared at me, his expression one of pure disbelief. "You actually woke her up?" I gave a cold laugh. "You've lost. It's time to honor the terms of our wager." All eyes in the room turned to him, hungry for the drama to unfold. "Caleb, a bet's a bet. You need to get on your knees and admit defeat to Ethan. Get on with it. Kneel and then get out of New York." Caleb looked up toward the second-floor landing, his eyes filled with desperation and panic. "I." Just as he was about to drop to his knees, Chloe's voice rang out from the second floor. "Who says we lost?" All heads turned towards the sound. There, at the top of the grand staircase, stood Chloe in a stunning couture gown. "My God, Chloe Davenport's legs are healed too?" It seems that Caleb fellow really has some tricks up his sleeve. He succeeded where even Ethan Hayes said it was impossible. If they're both cured, then who wins the bet? A triumphant look flashed in Caleb's eyes. "Did you see that? Chloe is standing." Chloe looked down at me from the top of the stairs, her expression imperious. "Ethan, you said I was incurable, but here I am, standing right in front of you. Are you ready to admit you're a charlatan?" I shook my head slowly. "Chloe, before, your legs might have been salvageable, but now they're truly beyond saving." Fury ignited in her eyes, and she gritted her teeth. Ethan, we'll see how long you can keep up that arrogant act. With that, she took a step down the staircase. I began to count down silently in my head. 1, 2, 3, 10. With a sickening thud, she collapsed, tumbling down the rest of the stairs. The person standing nearest to the staircase screamed in terror. Oh my God, what happened to Chloe's legs? The fall had torn her dress, exposing her legs to everyone's horrified gaze. A collective gasp went through the room. How could her legs look so grotesque? They seemed perfectly fine just a moment ago. Her bones look like they've turned to mush. Her legs are completely destroyed. Where's Caleb? Didn't he say he had cured her? Chloe lay on the floor, letting out low, agonized moans. No one dared to go near her. Caleb, his face as white as a sheet, stammered in terror. How could this be? Chloe was just standing a minute ago. Mrs. Davenport, having heard the commotion, rushed into the ballroom. Seeing her daughter on the floor, she raised her hand and slapped Caleb across the face. Caleb, you promised me you could cure her. Look what you've done to my daughter. If her legs are permanently damaged, I will make you pay. Security. Seize him and lock him up. Don't let him escape. At her command, 2 bodyguards seized Caleb by the arms and began to drag him out of the ballroom. Caleb struggled wildly, screaming back at Chloe. Chloe, I don't know what happened. Believe me, I would never hurt you. Don't touch me. Chloe, tell them to let me go. But Chloe was in too much agony to even register his pleas. A sharp chop to the back of the neck from a bodyguard silenced him, and they dragged his unconscious body away. Mrs. Davenport stared at her daughter's legs, completely at a loss. Mr. Hayes, what do we do? Can her legs be saved? I sighed. It's too late for that. Take her to the hospital for amputation. At least you might be able to save her life. The moment I said it, Mrs. Davenport's eyes rolled back in her head, and she fainted. Chloe struggled to lift her head. I refuse. I will not have an amputation. Ethan, you quack. You're just doing this out of spite because I wouldn't marry you. I won't let you get away with this. I'd like to see anyone try to take me to a hospital. I sneered. Resent you? You give yourself too much credit. You know perfectly well what was in that medicine Caleb gave you. Chloe, whether you live or die is of no concern to me. With that, I turned and walked away. Sophia, who had been silent until now, hurried to catch up with me. Ethan, did you know this was going to happen to her legs? I met her searching gaze, my own expression hardening. Are you blaming me for not warning her? Sophia quickly shook her head. No, you misunderstood. We were never friends. She brought this on herself, and frankly, I couldn't be happier about it. I was just curious how you knew for certain that something would go wrong with her legs. Ethan, I really didn't mean to accuse you. It's just the way I said it came out wrong. Seeing her flustered attempt to explain, I couldn't help but chuckle. Sophia, I believe you. Mrs. Davenport showed me a video of Caleb mixing his remedy. One of the ingredients was an unlabeled liquid. At the time, I was only suspicious. But when I saw Chloe stand up, I realized what it must have been. Flesh rot elixir. It causes the body to decay from the inside out, but for a few brief moments before total collapse, it can restore function to paralyzed limbs. Sophia looked confused. So Caleb did this to Chloe on purpose? I shook my head. I don't know if he was just overconfident or if someone was using him. Sophia didn't press further. I drove her back to the Sterling residence. We had just pulled up to her gate when my phone rang. It was Mrs. Davenport. Mr. Hayes, could I trouble you to come to the hospital? I don't know who else to call. Through the phone, I could hear Chloe screaming in the background. I said I won't agree to the amputation. You're all listening to that quack Ethan's lies. My legs can still be saved. Caleb said this is a normal reaction. Once the bones and flesh have reformed, I'll be able to walk again. It must have been the fall today that made them look like this. Mrs. Davenport's voice was frantic, on the verge of tears. Chloe, the doctors here all agree you need the amputation now. If you wait any longer, you could die. Please, just listen to your mother. Have the surgery. I heard the sound of shattering glass, followed by Mrs. Davenport's pleading voice. Mr. Hayes, the surgeons say they aren't completely confident. I was hoping you could come and consult. I'll be waiting for you at the hospital. So Sophia and I headed to the hospital together. In the car, Sophia opened her mouth to speak, hesitated, then finally asked the question. Are you going to save her? I rolled down the window, letting the cold wind whip against my face. No, I just want to enjoy the sight of her in a living hell. Sophia's hand, clutching her purse, froze. Ethan, do you hate Chloe? As far as I know, you two didn't have any history. A humorless smile touched my lips. She owes me a life. With that, I turned on the car stereo. Seeing that I didn't want to talk about it, Sophia didn't press the issue. When we got to the hospital, we found that Chloe had thrown all the doctors out of her room. Mrs. Davenport stood guard outside the door, her eyes red from crying. Mr. Hayes, can you please try to talk to Chloe? Get her to agree to the surgery. It's not that I don't want to help, but right now, I'm the last person she wants to see. No matter what I say, she'll think I'm trying to hurt her. I sighed deeply. She trusts Caleb, doesn't she? Why don't you have him try to talk to her? At the mention of Caleb's name, Mrs. Davenport's face filled with a mixture of anger and resentment. But with no other options, she had no choice but to call her assistant and have Caleb brought to the hospital. Caleb held Chloe's hand, his face a picture of distress. Chloe, are you in pain? It's all my fault. I should have been more careful. But I swear, there was nothing wrong with the medicine. Chloe opened her mouth to comfort him, but a sudden, searing pain shot through what was left of her legs, making her shudder. Once the wave of pain passed, she spoke. Caleb, tell me my legs don't need to be amputated, right? This is just like you said. The bones and flesh are just reforming, aren't they? Caleb glanced at the bloody mess of Chloe's lower body, then remembered what Mrs. Davenport and the doctors had instructed him to say. He hesitated, then finally spoke. Chloe, maybe you should listen to the doctors. I don't think your legs can be saved. Chloe's eyes widened in disbelief. Caleb, do you realize what you're saying? You swore to me you could cure my legs. I followed your instructions perfectly. Why are they suddenly talking about amputation? Caleb couldn't meet her accusing gaze. His expression was stiff, his knuckles white as he gripped the side of the bed. Seeing his reaction, tears welled in Chloe's eyes. Could it be true, what Ethan said, that you're the one who did this to me? Caleb, why? It wasn't me, Chloe. I didn't hurt you. Caleb shot to his feet, agitated. He suddenly spun around and pointed an accusing finger at me. It must have been you. You tampered with my medicine. Ethan, you couldn't stand seeing Chloe and me together, so you sabotaged us. You're a monster, Ethan. Just because Chloe wouldn't marry you, you decided to destroy her. His accusation was so absurd I had to laugh. Caleb, you need proof to make accusations like that. I haven't set foot in the Davenport house since the day we made that bet. How could I have possibly tampered with your medicine? Besides, I never once said I wanted to marry Chloe. That was all in your heads. But Caleb was resolute. Everyone knows that as soon as you returned to the country and heard Chloe was paralyzed, you rushed straight to the Davenport estate without even going home first. How do you explain that? That was because I believed Chloe had once saved my life. I wanted to cure her at any cost to repay that debt. But in this life, I had already refused to treat her. I had already paid that debt with my life in the last world. I sighed, exasperated. It's called a physician's duty. I try to help any patient who sincerely asks for my help. Don't blame me for your own incompetence. Caleb gritted his teeth in fury. Ethan, it was you. You're the reason Chloe lost her legs. Enough! Chloe's sudden scream cut him off. What's the point of arguing about this now? Can any of this save my legs? Mother, tell the doctors to prepare for surgery. Seeing Chloe finally give in, Mrs. Davenport rushed to get the surgeons. As they wheeled Chloe toward the operating room, Sophia suddenly stepped forward and ripped the necklace from around Chloe's neck. Chloe, it's time to return what you stole. Chloe shot her a look of pure hatred. Sophia, don't celebrate too soon. I stared at the necklace clutched in Sophia's hand, a sudden chill running down my spine. Could it be that the person who saved me all those years ago was Sophia? When I was 6 years old, I was kidnapped. I managed to escape with another little girl who had been taken, but the kidnappers found us. To protect me as I was injured, she ran out alone to lead them away. I gave her my necklace as a promise, telling her we'd meet again once we were both safe. But I never expected that, as soon as I was rescued, my family would send me abroad. I was gone for 15 years. It wasn't until I saw a news photo of Chloe Davenport that I recognized the necklace she was wearing. But the necklace actually belonged to Sophia. So, in my last life, I had saved the wrong person, and it had cost me my life. Sophia narrowed her eyes. Did you think the reason I haven't come after you is because I don't know the truth about that car crash? Once you're out of surgery, you and I are going to have a long talk. Chloe, I hope you can still speak to me with such confidence when this is all over. After they wheeled Chloe into surgery, Sophia and I went to the waiting area. I looked at the necklace in her hand and finally asked, Sophia, that little girl back then, that was you, wasn't it? Sophia pouted, a hint of a playful smirk on her face. Ethan, you finally remember. I figured you mistook Chloe for me because of this necklace. That's why you never recognized me. I explained, it was too dark back then. I never saw your face clearly. It was too dark back then. I never saw your face clearly. But how did Chloe end up with it? At that question, Sophia gritted her teeth. The Davenports and the Sterlings have always been rivals. Chloe and I never got along. She saw that I always wore this necklace, so she stole it. I thought I had just lost it. I never imagined she had taken it. In that moment, I was filled with a profound hatred for Chloe. If she hadn't stolen Sophia's necklace, I wouldn't have died for her in my past life, and I wouldn't have missed my chance to save Sophia. Thank God I was given a second chance. Then I asked another question. What was the truth about the car crash you mentioned earlier? Sophia took a deep breath. She was silent for a long moment before she continued. At the time, the Sterlings and the Davenports were competing for the same contract. It was a huge deal that would determine our overseas market share. I was on the verge of closing the deal, but Chloe played dirty. She orchestrated a minor car accident to delay me. What she didn't count on was an out-of-control semi-truck. Because of the accident, the Sterlings lost the contract. She got what she wanted, but she lost the use of her legs. She paused mid-sentence, then suddenly broke into a radiant smile. Ethan, thank goodness for you. Thank you for healing me, for giving me my life back. Faint dimples appeared on her cheeks, and her whole face seemed to glow. For a moment, I was completely captivated. Sophia, they're out. The surgery is over. My unspoken words were cut off by Mrs. Davenport's voice. Mrs. Davenport hurried over to me. Mr. Hayes, please come and see. Was the surgery a success? I gave a weary smile and walked over to her. Chloe was still unconscious from the anesthesia, lying motionless in the hospital bed. I looked at the empty space where her legs used to be, and I found myself eagerly anticipating the look on her face when she woke up. Knowing her as I did from my past life, this would be a fate worse than death. For someone as vain and obsessed with her appearance as Chloe, becoming a true cripple would be a living hell. When Chloe finally woke up, Caleb was not the first to rush to her side. His expression had changed the moment he saw her being wheeled out of the operating room. The adoration in his eyes had been replaced by fear and disgust. Yet she called for him first. Caleb, even though you couldn't cure me, I still want to marry you. After I'm discharged, we'll have our wedding. If you want children, we can adopt. But Caleb showed no sign of joy. Instead, he began to make excuses. Chloe, the most important thing right now is for you to recover. We can talk about marriage later. The smile froze on Chloe's face. Caleb, are you disgusted by me? Before Caleb could answer, Mrs. Davenport, who had just gotten off the phone, lunged forward and kicked him. Caleb, we got the lab results back on your medicine. That vial contained flesh-rot elixir, a poison that causes the body to decay. You're the one who did this to her. Why would you do such a thing? Mother, there must be some mistake. Why would Caleb hurt me? Chloe looked at Caleb, her eyes wide with disbelief. Caleb, what is going on? Caleb stood frozen, his pupils constricting as he muttered to himself. How can it be poison? She told me it would cure your legs. How could she lie to me? There has to be a mistake. I would never hurt Chloe. Watching this unfold, Chloe finally broke down completely. Caleb, it really was you. The truth was out, and Chloe was now truly and permanently disabled. Sophia and I said our goodbyes to Mrs. Davenport, leaving them to deal with their family matters. Over the next 2 months, Sophia and I started seeing each other regularly. One day, she came with news about Chloe. It turned out Caleb had never gone to the Rockies to find a snow lotus. He had spent a month with a wealthy businesswoman in exchange for the so-called miracle cure. That businesswoman, however, was someone Chloe had crossed in the past, and she had used Caleb as a pawn to get her revenge. When Chloe found out the truth, she and Caleb had a massive fight, screaming the most horrible things at each other. In a fit of rage, Caleb finally dropped the act. Chloe, you're a cripple now. Who else is going to want you? If I'd known this wouldn't work, I never would have wasted so much time. I'm the one who should be complaining, and you have the nerve to yell at me. Face it, if it wasn't for your family's money, I would have been gone a long time ago. Enraged, Chloe struck him. Caleb left the Davenport estate with a cold expression and, within days, had found himself a new wealthy benefactor. But her husband found out, had Caleb beaten, and dumped him back on the Davenports' doorstep, publicly humiliating Chloe in the process. That was the last straw for Chloe. She completely snapped, locking Caleb in the house and tormenting him day and night. One day, Caleb fought back and put Chloe in the hospital. Mrs. Davenport seized the opportunity to have him committed to a psychiatric facility. Hearing all this, I felt a strange mix of emotions. Was this the ending Chloe had wanted in our last life? During this time, my feelings for Sophia grew, and building on our childhood connection, we officially started dating. 3 months later, I proposed to her with a bouquet of roses. Sophia, you saved me when we were children, and now I've saved you. It feels like we were destined to find each other again. Will you marry me? Sophia's eyes filled with tears of joy, and she was just about to say yes, when a furious voice shouted from behind us. You are not allowed to marry her. Chloe wheeled herself over, her eyes wild with desperation. Ethan, you can't marry her. I remember everything. In our last life, I wronged you. I know I was wrong. Please come back to me. This time, I promise I'll listen to you. I froze. Couldn't believe it. Chloe had been reborn at this moment, too. Sophia stepped in front of me protectively. Chloe, Ethan and I are together now. You have no right to interfere. I haven't even made you pay for what you did to me, and you have the nerve to show your face? Chloe's eyes looked past Sophia, pleading with me. Ethan, I know you were reborn too. Otherwise, you wouldn't have just stood by and let this happen to me. I know you resent me, that you hate me, and it's all my fault, but I regret it. I regret not cherishing you. I regret how I treated you. I realize now that you were the one I loved all along. I just didn't know it. Please, can you forgive me just this once? I looked at her, my expression cold as ice. Chloe, what do you have to regret? Isn't this exactly the ending you wanted in our last life? Besides, I was never in love with you. If you hadn't stolen Sophia's necklace, causing me to mistake you for her, I never would have helped you in the first place. I wrapped my arm around Sophia's waist and turned to leave. Chloe frantically tried to turn her wheelchair, but a wheel caught on a loose stone, and she tumbled to the ground. Ethan, I fell. It hurts. I didn't look back. I just walked away faster. When we got home, I told Sophia everything about my past life. Her face flushed with anger. Ethan, it's all my fault. I should have protected that necklace. Because of me, Chloe deceived you. I swear I will make her pay for everything she put you through. But before Sophia could confront her, Chloe had me kidnapped. I was tied up, unable to move. Ethan, I told you I know I was wrong. Why won't you forgive me? Why do you have to be with Sophia? Don't you know how much I despise her? You used your blood to heal her, but you just stood by and watched me become a cripple. Chloe sat in her wheelchair, staring at me, her face a twisted, Jungning mask of obsession. But I don't blame you. You only hate me because you love me so much. This time, I'll be good. I'll stay by your side. I'll give you everything the Davenports have, just like last time. We can be happy together again. Wouldn't that be wonderful? Your blood can fix my legs, can't it? Once I can walk again, we'll have a huge wedding. We'll have so many beautiful children. A boy who looks just like you, and a girl who looks just like me. Her words made my stomach turn. Chloe, stop dreaming. Your legs have been amputated. Even I can't fix that. My blood can't regenerate limbs or bring people back from the dead. Let me go, and I'll forget this kidnapping ever happened. But it was as if she couldn't hear me. She pulled a knife from her pocket and slowly approached me, muttering to herself, Ethan, this will only hurt a little. Just bear with it. Soon, we'll be together again. Just as the blade was about to slice my wrist, Sophia burst in and kicked Chloe out of her wheelchair. Ethan, are you okay? Seeing Sophia, a relieved smile spread across my face. Honey, I was so scared. You're impossible. She untied my ropes, and I pulled her into a hug as we left. I don't know where Chloe found the strength, but she propped herself up and lunged with the knife, aiming for Sophia's back. I reacted instantly, kicking her away. But without her legs, Chloe couldn't control her fall. She landed hard, and the knife in her hand plunged into her own chest. By the time the ambulance got her to the hospital, she was already gone. After arranging Chloe's funeral, Mrs. Davenport gave up her worldly possessions and joined a convent. The Davenport Corporation's stock plummeted. The Sterling Corporation seized the opportunity, acquiring the Davenport Corporation and solidifying their position as the most powerful family in New York. Later, Sophia and I had the wedding of the century. In my past life, Chloe had refused to marry me, so we never even had a wedding. Everyone in New York society had mocked me as a kept man who married for money. But in this life, I married the woman I truly loved, and I gave her the grand wedding she deserved. Sophia became the envy of every socialite in New York. As fireworks lit up the night sky, I cupped Sophia's face in my hands and kissed her. This time, I will protect the one I love.